That gets me going, man.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mafia Means Family podcast. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate the support. I'm your host, Mafia Mom, and I'm joined here by Mini Mafia. How you doing today, Mini Mafia?
I'm doing really good.
You are? Good. So, how's your week been? Anything cool going on?
Yeah, my friends are coming over today. I'm really excited about that. I'm also really excited for the Bills game. I think it's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that for sure. Let's start out by reviewing the Jets-Bills game, unfortunately. It's never as much fun to talk football when they lose, is it? So let's start out there. What'd you think of that game?
I thought the defense and the offense both played sloppy. Josh Allen threw 2 crappy interceptions and really just all out bad.
I can't disagree with you there. I thought the defense, I mean, at times they were moving the ball, but at the end of the day, like, they still only gave up 20 points. I know that seems like a lot to the Jets, but the offense wasn't helping them out at all. The defense I don't have as much of a problem with. Plus, they had some key injuries like Boyer and Milano. Right, and White still not playing. So I cut them a little bit more slack, but the offense, now what happened? Like, we had the number 1 offense in the league a few weeks ago, and now, I mean, we're still number 2 in scoring, and I think number 1 in yards, but what happened? Like, it's those turnovers, right? We talked about that last week, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Well, you got to protect the ball.
Yeah, we did.
You can't win games when you're just taking points off the board like Josh Allen was, or not just Josh Allen, but he's the one who threw the interceptions. But I don't get it. He's always been a gunslinger, so like he always has turnovers from time to time, but he's got 2 turnovers in each of his last 2 games. Like, that's just unacceptable.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, definitely frustrating. So what else do you think of that game? So now we're at 6-2. The Dolphins and the Jets are both right on our heels at 6-3, and they both have the tiebreaker over us. So we get to play them again. But as of right now, we have to stay 1 game ahead of them, or else we're not in first place of the East.
Yes.
Yeah, no other thoughts on that one right now? On keeping ahead of them? All right. Do you know why it's so important for us to win our division?
It's so important for us to win our division because the Chiefs, again, very good matchup. Definitely going to make it into the playoffs this year, most likely. If we win our division, we're probably going to be getting the number 1 playoff spot, or at least close to that, which means home field advantage.
So you're kind of talking about 2 different things, but they're in the same area, yes. So if you win your division, you're guaranteed a home playoff game no matter what, at least 1. Now, obviously, if you don't win your division, you definitely don't get home field advantage throughout the whole playoffs, which is what the Bills, what we want them to do and what they should do, to be honest. They're a way more talented team than, no offense, but than the Jets or the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins have a lot of talent, but they just started playing together. We should have beat both of those teams, and it's our own sloppy play that's gotten in the way, and that's frustrating. I know that you being a younger Bills fan, you probably don't understand this as much, but you fans who have been around for a while out there will understand. I can live with the Bills losing a game because the other team was better. That I can live with. I'm okay with that. I get it. Just got to figure out how to get better. But to lose games because the Bills beat themselves is very frustrating. Like, do you remember 2 years ago in the AFC Championship game when we lost to the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Okay. The Chiefs were a better team than us that year. Like, that was just it. They were just better than us. We didn't have the talent. We didn't have the experience, and it showed on the field. But then, like, the way that we lost that game to the Dolphins and Jets, what did they do to take that game away from us?
Nothing. We just beat ourselves.
Exactly. And that's so frustrating. Absolutely, for sure. Just very, very frustrating. There was a big penalty at the end of the game that took out a big reception to Gabe Davis. I always feel like Deion Dawkins is good for one penalty a game or one bonehead play a game. I think he's a great left tackle, but it just seems like once a game, his brain goes blank and he does something stupid. But either way, the game shouldn't have come down to that because we should have been up bigger in that game, right?
Yes, we should have.
Absolutely. So let's go to, I know it's going to be a little tough, but do you have a player of the game that you could pick out from that game last week? Who would you go with?
If anything, I think I'll go with Diggs.
Diggs?
He had 96 yards, I'm pretty sure, 5 catches. Decent amount.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Diggs still did his job. It's good to know that we have a receiver that even on a bad day for the offense is still going to do his thing and still gonna have he's going to do his part and contribute, right? Yeah. I agree. I think Diggs had a big day. And while we're talking about the wide receivers, what did you think of all the drops? I know Allen played bad, and I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but Davis had a drop. Cook, he got lit up, but he had a drop. I think even one went through Diggs' hand. What did you think of all the drops?
I mean, Davis, that was just on him. It was a pass he should have caught. He's caught harder than that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really remember Diggs' drop, but I do remember when James Cook got just leveled by CJ Mosley.
He did. That was a big hit. Josh kind of hung him out to dry there a little bit, but I think sometimes there's just not a place for the quarterback to put the ball where the defense isn't going to be able to lay a hit, and you still got to come down with that ball. Like, especially being a rookie, like you're trying to make a name for yourself in this league, you got to make those plays. But
you should have let him a little bit more left, and he probably doesn't get hit.
Maybe that's definitely possible.
I just don't remember the defense. So.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the Davis drop. I don't know which one I think you're talking about the one earlier in the game, but even the last play of the game, like I know Davis didn't have a lot of separation, so it was a tough catch to make, but that last ball went right through Davis's hands. Like
the one on the ground.
It was okay. I was talking about the deep one, the last play of the game, the last offensive play of the game, which, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but that ball traveled like 69.5 yards in the air. That was the longest pass attempted by a QB in like 6 years. So obviously, Josh Allen with that elbow, that had gotten hurt 2 plays before, it didn't do anything to affect his arm strength because he still threw the ball farther than a quarterback has in 6 years. So that was pretty cool to learn that. I wish we would have won the game instead of doing that, but it was still pretty cool. So that'll help us transition here into the injuries. That injury bug still killing us here. What do you think? So far it's been announced that Rousseau is out.
Dang it.
I think he's going to be a couple weeks, to be honest with you.
He's one of my favorite players. He's really good. He learns from Von Miller extremely well. He has a lot of potential. It's really bad for him to go down this late in the season.
It is.
The playoffs.
I agree. I think he'll be able to come back for the playoffs. It's a high ankle sprain, so hopefully they take it slow with him, let him rest up, and then we have him full for the playoffs. Because I don't know about you, but I think that part of the reason why Von Miller's having success is because of the way Greg Rousseau's playing. Like, if you don't have that really good rusher on the other side, they're just going to put all the attention on Miller, and Miller is going to have a harder time. I think he'll still make some plays because he's Von Miller, but he's going to have a harder time if they can constantly shift the protection to his side if Rousseau's not out there.
Yeah, that's why it's definitely going to be tough the next few weeks because Rousseau, one of our best pass rushers behind Von Miller, definitely on the edges, and sometimes he might go in the middle.
Yeah, they've done some stunts and stuff to move him in the middle. Yeah,
he's one of our best pass rushers. They're just going to be moving all the protection to Von Miller now. Not going to be as much pressure. It's just going to be a tough few weeks.
I would agree with that for sure. We'll talk about it how it relates to the Vikings game here in a few minutes, but I think they're going to be important for the Vikings game. Now another key injury, Jordan Poyer, man, my heart breaks for him. Like I think he's missed like 5 games since he came here, and now this year he just can't stay healthy. He has already been ruled out for the game. What do you think of him being out for another game?
It's definitely bad. It's definitely really bad. And he's almost at his career high with picks, too.
I think he already did beat his career high for picks. Or did he tie it?
No, he only has 4.
Oh, I thought that would.
He's one below.
I'd have to look, but I thought that he had beating his career high. But it's hard without him. But how do you think it relates to the Bills not having Poyer out there?
It definitely is going to be hard, especially in the secondary. He's definitely a good hybrid. He can disguise stuff, help over the top, play as a linebacker even because he's so big and fast. It's definitely going to be tough.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I don't know about you, but I feel like if we were missing either Hyde or Poyer, I think DeMar Hamlin has actually played very, very well. But Jaquan Johnson is driving me nuts. Like watching him out there play after play, take bad angles in the run game and whiff on tackles. There was a few plays, huge plays we gave up just last week because Jaquan Johnson took an angle that made absolutely no sense trying to bring the ball carrier down. And he's getting beat in the pass game. He's driving me nuts. Hamlin, I can deal with. Jaquan Johnson's killing me. He's got to step up.
Also, Hamlin's a newbie to the team. He just came here last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Jaquan Johnson's been on the team for a few years. He should know the plays.
Yeah, I think Jaquan Johnson might be in his third year. It's the second or third year. But I don't think it's just about knowing the plays. Like he just either he doesn't trust his instincts or he doesn't have the ability to do it. But I think there's less of a drop off. It's still a drop off, but I think there's less of a drop off from Poyer or Hyde to Hamlin and from Poyer or Hyde to Jaquan Johnson. So when Hamlin has to come in there and he can still play with Poyer, I think our defense still looks really good. Can't wait to see White back out there. I think that'll help a lot. But when Jaquan Johnson and Hamlin have to be back there on the back end, it doesn't work, man. Like we're not the defense that we want to be when they're out there.
Hyde and Poyer are one of our key players. Hyde and Poyer are definitely our two key players to our defense being so success because they play really well. They react off of each other's moves. Like they know where each other are gonna be even before the ball is snapped, and they just work off of each other so well.
I completely agree. I do. I think
I miss both of them, especially Hyde. He's out for the year.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit of next year too.
Absolutely. I think they're the best safety tandem in the league, and it sucks that we lost Hyde so early in this season, and then Poyer with the injury struggles. But we hope Poyer gets well soon, right? We want to see him out there. These regular season games, I think we can hold it down in the regular season, but we really are going to need him for the playoffs. Our defense just looks so different with him out there. Hopefully we get a chance to see White this week, so maybe that'll help boost that defense a little bit. I don't think he'll play a full game, but it'll be nice to just see him out there, and the crowd's going to give him a very warm welcome. What do you think of the potential of White coming back?
He's going to be pumped to come back. He hasn't played football in like almost a year and a half now.
A year. It was last year Thanksgiving.
Yeah, almost a year.
Probably feels like 10 years for him, though.
Yeah, he really likes football. He's a prankster. He loves the locker room, loves the guys. It's just going to be hype with him back, especially because all of the other players, like Taron Johnson, I forgot his
Elam or
Kyer Elam,
Dane Jackson.
Dane Jackson, Kyer Elam. Those guys are going to be pumped to have him back.
Yeah.
And now Taron Johnson and Kyer Elam are going to be Bedford and Elam are going to be competing for a spot now.
Yeah, I think they're going to compete for the third cornerback spot because I think Dane Jackson's going to play CB2, and then obviously you have Taron Johnson in the slot, and then so I think that they're going to be competing for the third spot. But Elam's also battling an injury right now, so
yeah, exactly.
So we'll see how that works out for him. So that basically covers that. Oh, my player of the game from last week, I'm going to do two players here. Hamlin's one, again, just like I was saying earlier. I've just been very impressed with him. He's got big shoes to fill coming in for Hyde. He's only a second-year guy, and he's impressed me, especially in the run game. I love Hyde. You know Hyde is one of my favorite Bills players. But I notice, and I'm not somebody who watches film or anything like that, but I notice Hamlin making more plays in the run game than I've noticed with Hyde. Now, it doesn't mean that he's better than Hyde or anything like that, but I think he is a little bit bigger, and I don't think he plays the pass quite as well. But in the run game, which was a huge weakness for us last year, our run defense, Hamlin makes some plays, man. The way he gets penetration, he gets into the backfield, and then he even has a couple sacks this year. So I think he had a sack in last week's game. So I've been very impressed with Hamlin. The other one would be Bernard, man. him coming in and filling in for Milano does a lot for this defense, a lot. And the fact that Bernard was out there and I didn't notice at least. I didn't notice Milano wasn't there. It's not like I was like, oh, there's the hole Milano would have filled, or oh, there's the play Milano would have made. I thought Bernard played really, really well for a rookie player who was a third round pick, I believe. I thought he played very, very well, and I would like to see more of him. Now, I obviously want Milano in there more. But if Milano does miss time, I have a lot of confidence in Bernard to be able to step in and develop as a player. And I think in the future, when we come to the end of the Milano era, because eventually he will leave, I think Bernard is going to be a good replacement for him. Or maybe we even play, because the Milano style matches Bernard's more. Like Tremaine Edmonds plays a very different style linebacker. He does different things. But maybe because this is Tremaine Edmonds last year, he could be gone after this year. If that's the case, maybe we play two linebackers that are the Milano style. We play Bernard and Milano, and see how that works out. I don't know. Obviously, I don't work for the Bills, so I don't know what they're planning on doing. But either way, it gives you options. Did you notice Bernard out there at all?
I did notice him. He plays a lot like Milano. I think he plays exactly like Milano. He's fast, quick, smart. Knows where the players are going to be. He's just really good. And when he develops in the future, he's going to be exactly like Milano.
I'd agree with that. I think Milano's a good guy for him to learn behind. So good points. Now, family meeting. So who would you call in for the family meeting from the Jets game? Can't argue there. Go ahead. Tell me about it. What would you tell them? What would you say to him?
Stop throwing interceptions exactly like in the Packers game. And just stop turning the ball over. Stop making dumb plays. Do smart plays. Dump down when you have to. Don't always go deep. Just play smart.
I think that's a great point because I think Josh Allen over the last few years, the biggest change in him, you can talk about the accuracy and all that, but it was the decision making. He's been getting better and better each year in taking what the defense gives him. He doesn't have to go for it all in one shot. He doesn't have to go for the 30-yard play. He's been content to dump it off and let his guys make plays, even if it's moving down the field, 8 yards at a time. He's been content to do that. I don't believe he was content to do that in the Jets game. For sure, I don't know if it had to do with the trash talk because of the stuff said by Sauce Gardner. I don't know. But either way, it's
Sauce Gardner around with him.
Maybe, but either way, it's not an excuse. Like, you have to do what's best for the team, and Josh Allen's got to get out of his own head and not worry so much about proving a point or whatever's got him twisted up. I don't know if it's MVP candidate. I don't know. Whatever it is, he's got to get out of his own head and be willing to take what the defense gives him. So I think that was a great point about not trying to go deep all the time and being willing. I mean, the deep plays are exciting. We all love them. But I would much rather see you go down the field in 10 plays, 8 yards at a time, and score a touchdown than have one big play and then a turnover, right?
Yeah, just don't go for it all play. You have more than one chance. It's not the last day on earth. You have more than one game. Just get over it.
Right. All right, so our next segment is going to be Fact or Flag.
Who's your player for family meeting?
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I would pull in. Josh Allen would have been my first choice, but because you handled Josh Allen, I'm going to say Gabe Davis. Davis, look, he got his chance. He's a number 2 wide receiver right now in the league, and most people believe when he's having a game, that he's more of a 1A than a 2. So like he's more of a number 1 wide receiver. But because Diggs is so good, he's right behind Diggs, then he is a number 2. But he's got to step up. These last few games, he's been too quiet. Diggs can't do everything. Like, you have to be a threat in the passing game. You have to get separation. It seems like with Davis that it's feast or famine. I don't know if you know what that saying means, but it means it's either all of it or none of it. So it's either he's hitting 98-yard catches and he's blowing up defenses, or he's doing nothing in the game. You have to be able to do an in-between. We need games out of Davis that are like 4 catches for 62 yards. Stuff like that. Just contribute. Just be a part of the offense. Be one of the cogs in the machine that help the machine move. You don't have to have the game of your life or do absolutely nothing in the game. So I would say Gabe Davis and the drops. That we can't do that. We can't be letting balls go right through our hands, especially in good weather. We're going to play enough in bad weather this year. We don't have to be letting those mistakes happen in good weather.
Yeah, I like how, like you said about the machine. Basically, I think of the team as a giant machine. Everybody needs to contribute. like the gears. There's everything in the machine has to work right. It doesn't have to work right all the time, but most of the time it has to work right. Some parts can be missing. Just make do well.
But the whole machine has to be doing its job, right? You can't have half the machine working, half the machine not working, or the on switch working, but the igniter not working, and then you hit the on switch and nothing happens, right? So you need every piece to contribute and every piece to do its job, right?
Or like a lawnmower.
Sure, like a lawnmower. Yep, any machine really. All right. So anything else to add to that? You want to move on to factor flag?
Factor flag.
All right. Now we don't have our flag today, but that's okay. You can just say factor flag, okay? All right. So
Or
this,
I can toss my sleeve if it's a flag.
okay. So we're gonna start you off easy here. I'm pretty sure you know the answer to this. So, fact or flag? James Cook's younger brother. Or I'm sorry. James Cook is the younger brother of Dane Cook. Excuse me. James Cook is you're gonna ask a question for me. James Cook is the younger brother of the Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook. That is a fact. Very good. Oh, we do have our flag there. So go ahead and grab that. All right. So that was an easy one, right?
Yes.
Everybody's kind of hoping that he can play a similar game to Dalvin Cook. And I don't know if you know this or if I mentioned this last week.
Wait, this is actually a matchup.
It is.
The Cook brothers.
It absolutely is. I have a few revenge angles to talk about when we get to the Vikings game. But Singletary and the Cook brothers actually are all from Florida, and they all work out together in the off season. So that's kind of cool too. All right. So next, Kirk Cousins has won over half of his games throughout his career versus teams that ended the season with a winning record. Okay. So like if he played them week 7, but if they ended the season with a winning record, he's won more than half of those games. Fact or flag? Flag. You are absolutely right. He's actually only won about 20% of those games. So this is the big knock on Kirk Cousins. He plays really good against the bad teams.
Only 1/5.
And right, he plays really good against the bad teams, and he plays really good when he's not in prime time. But he hasn't been able to consistently beat winning teams throughout his career. Now this year they've beat everybody but the Eagles that they faced. That's good. They look like a decent team.
Oh, I thought you told me that they were 6-2.
No, I think they're 7-1. I forgot to check, but either way, my point is that they seem to be playing good this year. But historically speaking, Kirk Cousins does not play well against teams that end the season with a winning record. And I think everybody believes, no matter what happens with the Bills this year, they will end with more wins than losses. Okay. Buffalo and Minnesota are the only two teams to go 0-4 in Super Bowls.
Fact.
You are absolutely right. That is a fact. How did you know that? Do you remember me talking about it? Was that it? I thought that maybe I could trick you. All right. Good
also,
job.
I saw your board.
Oh, stop looking at the board, cheater. Don't look at the board. All right. Let's see.
I just saw the question. I didn't see the answer.
All right. Well, that's a good point because those are just the questions. The answers aren't really there. So, all right. Kirk Cousins plays just as good outside as inside throughout his career.
What does that mean?
Like his numbers and stuff are just as good because Minnesota plays in a dome.
Oh yeah,
so
like inside and outside.
Right. So his numbers, there's not a big difference between his numbers inside and his numbers outside.
I think that's a fact.
You think that's a fact? Well, you swung that up, but you said fact. So which one? Do you think it's a flag?
Yes, I think it's a flag.
You are 100% right. He actually has about a 9% difference in his completion percentage.
Because I think it's easier to throw in a dome because the wind and the weather isn't affecting it.
Absolutely. It definitely is. For whatever the reason is, though, his touchdown to interception ratio and his completion percentage are both way, way worse when they are outside than he has when he's playing inside. So that is absolutely a flag. All right. Here's another one for you. Josh Allen has only faced the Vikings once, and he won. Fact or flag?
I think that is a flag. I think he's faced them more than once. Wait, no, it's not. It's a fact.
It's a fact. You're absolutely right. I think a lot of people believe that was the game that put Josh Allen on the map. That was the game that he hopped over Anthony Barr. It was his first hurdle, We went into Minnesota. We were huge underdogs.
Season.
Nope, it was regular season. I would only be talking about regular season. Went into Minnesota. We were huge underdogs. It was back in Josh Allen's rookie year.
First year?
It was his first year. It was like week 3. He was really like, it was very early on, and nobody gave us a shot. We were supposed to lose that game by like 16 points, and we went in there. Stephon Diggs was actually on the Vikings at the time, and we went in there, and Josh Allen just lit it up. He looked unbelievable. We were up huge by like the end of the first quarter. We just played out of our minds, and we ended up winning that game. So he is 1-0 versus the Vikings. Obviously, that was in Minnesota. They'll be playing in Buffalo this time, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, fact or flag? Vikings are ranked better than the Bills in rushing yards per game. So I'm saying the Vikings rush for more yards, obviously, the Dalvin
It's
Cook,
a fact.
than the Bills per
I'm
game.
pretty sure it's a fact. We don't wait, no. Flag.
Why is that?
Josh Allen rushes extremely well.
Josh Allen's rushing yards do count as rushing yards per game. I can't get you today. You got it again. So the Bills are actually ranked. The Bills are actually ranked 13th, and the Vikings are ranked 24th.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So the Bills are actually much better in rushing yards per game than the Vikings. All right, last one here, fact or flag. The Bills are ranked higher than the Vikings in every major offensive and defensive category. So that means in rushing yards per game, passing yards per game, rushing yards allowed, passing yards allowed, yards per game, points per game, all of that. In every one of those, they are ranked better than the Vikings. Fact or flag?
I think that's a fact.
I couldn't get you today. Good job, man. You were like 100% there.
Thanks,
very,
Mafia,
very nice.
Mom.
Very good job, kid. All right. So that is the end of our fact and flag section here. So now we are going to move on to a new segment called Family Tradition. Now here, basically, I'm just going to give you a chance. We have a lot of family traditions that we do relating to the Bills, right? And a lot of family memories.
We really do.
This is going to be just a little segment where you can talk about one of them. So which one do you want to talk about today?
I want to talk about how not you, but my other mom, Grace, makes us these amazing snacks every week. Every time the Bills score, it's really cool.
It's awesome. So it makes great snacks. What kind of snacks does she make?
She makes Chex Mix, brownies, even lets us get candy. She's just a master with the oven.
I would agree there. So then what do we do with the snacks? Explain that. So what happens?
So basically, we set the snacks on our ottoman, and every time the Bills score, we get a snack, but after the field goal and after we sing.
Right. And what do we sing? What our tradition is, when the Bills score a touchdown, what's the first thing we do?
We sing. Then we watch the field goal.
We sing what? We sing the shout song, right?
We sing the shout song. Then we watch the field goal, and then we get snacks.
Right. So when we sing the shout song, how do we do it? Explain it.
So basically, we all sing the first part, but at the hey and at the let's go Buffalo part, before the song, one of us say that we're gonna do it, and then that person does it. Then the rest of the family does it the second time. Does the
repeat part, right, and sends it back. Yes, and then everybody eats snacks except who? Except
my sister.
No. Your sister eats snacks. I don't eat snacks, right?
Why
don't I eat snacks?
She doesn't eat. Right here.
Okay.
She doesn't eat snacks because she thinks she's gonna jinx the Bills. I'm pretty sure.
No, it's not because I think I'm gonna jinx them. It's because I get so nervous during Bills games that I can't eat. Like I feel like nauseous. Like I feel like I used to back when I played basketball and before I messed up my knee. And I get too nervous. Like I feel like I'm gonna get sick. So the anxiety it doesn't let me. So you guys all eat snacks throughout the whole game, right? And I don't eat any. And we can save.
But Grace does save some of the Chex Mix for you, after the game.
Yeah, I get stuff for later, but I don't eat during the games. And then I know you were gonna go into your sister there. Maybe we can save that for another family tradition segment. Okay. All right. So let's move on here. So we are going to move on now to the Vikings-Bills preview. Now, we've already gotten into this quite a bit. Let's start with, do you have any thoughts just in general on this matchup?
I do. I think both teams are very good. The Vikings are 7-1. only lost against the Eagles. Decent team this year, playoff contender. Bills again, very good team. Just gotta stop turning the ball over. Josh Allen has to keep playing smart. I hope he plays.
Yeah,
And
that's a big one.
really, that's it.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm double checking real quick. The Vikings. Yeah, they are 7-1. So I agree with you there. Josh Allen not playing is going to be a very, very big deal. I think our team's the whole offense is going to look much different if it's Case Keenum out there. But I'm with you. I did do the research. I believe the Vikings are 8-6 all time versus the Bills. They're 4-4 in Buffalo versus the Bills. So they've won 4 games and they've lost 4 games, and they're like since the NFL was created, since the merger, in Buffalo versus the Bills. So this is a tiebreaker.
They've won more games than the Bills have against them.
Overall, yes, but in Buffalo they've won and lost the exact same amount, 4-4. So
this is a tiebreaker to see if they won more or lost more.
Yeah, we'll
They're
see.
gonna lose more, I hope.
But beyond that, because this is an NFC matchup, it's not a game that if it wasn't for the way the standings sit right now, I would be all that concerned about. But we need to get back on the winning track. That game, the second half of the Packers game and the game against the Jets was just so incredibly sloppy. We can't keep playing like that. We need to get back on track and play Buffalo Bills football. All right, so let's go on to let's see here. Let's talk about players to watch. Who's your player to watch?
I think my player to watch. It depends on the Vikings defensive line and linebackers. Um, if their defensive line and linebackers aren't good, I think Devin Singletary. Also, he can make some moves in very small areas. But if it's good, I think either Davis or Diggs.
Okay. All right. Yeah, the Vikings are an interesting team because I don't feel like they've necessarily played their best football, but they're 7-1 and they're winning games. One thing about them is that they are last in the NFL in red zone defense. So when teams get into the red zone on them, they score touchdowns more often than they do against any other team in the NFL. We have struggled a little bit with red zone offense this year. We've turned the ball over on downs. We've turned the ball over because of interceptions, fumbles, and just not been able to punch it in. We've had to settle for some field goals. So that could definitely help us. That relates to my player of the game, my player to watch. If Josh is playing, I would expect the defense to play a bigger role as far as my player of the game. But if Josh isn't playing, I want to see a lot from the run game. So Hines, Singletary, those would be my players to watch if Josh isn't playing. If Josh is playing, I'm going to flip it back to the defensive side of the ball. And I'm going to say keeping an eye on Matt Milano. I think the Vikings are going to want to run the ball, especially given what I was saying earlier about Kirk Cousins, the way he throws the ball outdoors, especially if Trey White is back. And if he can play some substantial snaps, I'm not sure how likely that is, on Justin Jefferson. Hopefully, we can force them to try to run the ball a little bit more on us. And I think in that case, Matt Milano will play a big role of either taking away the shorter passes or stopping the run.
I don't really think Trey White's going to be matched up against Justin Jefferson, just because he's definitely fully healed, but I don't think he's ready to get matched up against one of the best receivers in the NFL yet. It's his first game back in almost a year. He's not gonna be playing much. I think he might go on the number 2 or 3 just to get him warmed up, ready for the next games ahead. I think
Maybe.
In the next game ahead after the Vikings. Wait, is that the Patriots?
I don't know. I'd have to look up the schedule.
Well, whoever's after that, I think since Trey White's gonna be warmed up if he plays, just because of this game, I think he might go on the number 1 receiver then.
Okay, maybe one of the things about the Bills' defense is they don't travel with receivers generally because we play a lot of zone and just the style that Leslie Frazier plays. So White is generally going to line up on one side. Like he's going to line up on the right side, and that's where he's going to be. So if Jefferson ends up on the right side, what would be the offensive left side? Then White's going to cover him. If he ends up on the other side, then it would be Dane Jackson or whatever. Let's see. You asked about who was playing next. I do think they'll ease him in, but I also would expect him to at least be covering him a little bit. After the Vikings, we play the Browns. They don't have the most threatening passing game, so that might be a really good game to really put White in there and let him do what he does. So you could be right about him being very, very limited in this game. All right. So we did. Did you do your players to watch? Yes, you did, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then let's move on to just a couple storylines from this game that I'm not sure if you're aware of. Obviously, Diggs and Keenum both played with the Vikings. They actually
in the Minneapolis Miracle,
Minneapolis Miracle, yeah.
In the Minneapolis Miracle, it was Keenum to Diggs.
It was
on a insane catch. I actually saw it on YouTube because I wanted to look it up because I heard about it when I actually did a project on him last year.
Yes, I remember that on Diggs, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a very cool catch and a very cool run after the catch. Yeah, I heard that. So
I'm pretty sure he hurdled somebody.
He kind of jumped and the two defenders ran into each other. When he jumped up to make the catch, the two defenders kind of ran into it. He kind of like bounced off them and they ran into each other. And then he ended up by heading down or running into the end zone with it. So it was a cool play though for sure. So let's see here. So a couple other revenge things. That was the last time that the Vikings had this kind of a good record. So they definitely I wouldn't say they missed Keenum and Diggs, but Keenum and Diggs definitely played a significant role
especially
in the Vikings.
Diggs.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, Adam Thielen's hurt, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. I don't know. I've been paying so much attention to the Bills injury report this week. I haven't looked up the Vikings.
Adam Thielen's been off and on definitely in his seasons.
Yeah.
He's been hurt most of them actually.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Now Leslie Frazier. I don't know if you know this. Leslie Frazier became the head coach. He was the defensive coordinator of the Vikings. Then they fired their head coach, and Leslie Frazier became the interim head coach for the Vikings. So he coached there for a while, and I believe he got the job after that. Coached there for a few years. So Leslie Frazier has a little bit of a revenge factor. Then he was fired by the Vikings. And obviously hired on by the Bills and Sean McDermott. So that's another revenge factor. Obviously, we already talked about James Cook, Dalvin Cook. Not a revenge factor, but just playing against your brother must be cool in the NFL.
Okay, two things. One, it's going to be easier to play because Leslie Frazier knows how the Vikings play because he coached
Maybe. They have a whole new head coach now, though, a whole new offensive system. So I don't know how much that's still left from when Frazier was there.
Defense.
Maybe, but again, he was the defensive coordinator. So now that he's gone, I don't know. He could have a little bit more insight. Diggs would probably be more likely to have insight though than
because he actually played.
Right. Yeah. So what was the other thing you were gonna add to that? Do you remember?
I wish that James Cook or Dalvin Cook played on defense, so then they could go up against each other and see if one could tackle the other. Yeah, have a competition. Like, let's say James Cook was like a linebacker or a cornerback instead of a running back. To see who could get the either one most yards or two most tackles, and see if they can level each other the most.
That would be interesting. That actually happened. There were the Barber brothers.
I thought it was
Tiki Barber, and they've never faced each other. They'll face each other next year. Tiki Barber and Rondé Barber. One of them played DB, one played running back. And it was interesting when they would match up because unlike when the Manning brothers faced each other, they were both quarterbacks. So they weren't on the field at the same time. The Barber brothers were on the field at the same time, and they were trying to hit each other. One was trying to run the other one over, and one was trying to tackle his brother. So we've actually seen that before. It's very, very cool. It would be cool if Dalvin Cook or James Cook played defense. It would add a cool little wrinkle to it. But
I can't wait to see Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs is
that'll be interesting, and I think Trayvon is their number one corner, so it'll be very interesting to see him on his big brother Stephon Diggs. So we have the Leslie Frazier, the Cook brothers, Keenum and Diggs, and then there's one other revenge factor, if you want to call it that, Harrison Phillips. Remember Harrison Phillips, the big guy who used to play for us last year?
Yeah, he was
drove was crazy sometimes.
I'm pretty sure he's now on the Vikings.
He is on the Vikings. So we'll see if that plays any role. I'm sure everybody wants to have a good showing against their old team. So we'll see if that plays a role. All right. Now on to our last part here. We are going to do a score prediction. Now I know this is a little bit tough because according to Sean McDermott, Josh Allen is hour by hour. We don't know if he's going to play or not. But what is your score prediction for the Vikings game?
My score prediction is 28-10.
28-10. Wow. Okay. And
I
who do
think
you have
our
winning that game?
defense is definitely going to step up. Bills definitely. Honestly, since Diggs and Keenum have chemistry, Keenum's definitely going to be looking for Diggs a lot more.
If Josh can't play, you mean?
Yes, if
Wow.
Josh can't play.
Okay.
I think I think we're definitely going to be doing more of the run game. If Josh isn't in, just because Keenum he hasn't played much this year.
Yeah.
I think he might throw like 10, 15 times, not much.
Well, we'll have to see how it plays out. Sometimes you got to throw it depending on sometimes how much
Depending
you
on
throw
the
it
defense.
depends on the defense and the score. It's like if you're down 10 points, you
Kinda have to throw
the time is running out. You got to throw the ball. If you're up 10 points, you probably don't want to throw the ball. You probably rather run it. So we'll see what happens. I'm really hoping Josh plays. I know he's a competitor. He wants to be out there. I think it makes a huge difference. I have two different score predictions, unfortunately. Josh.
Actually, I have another score prediction.
Okay, so the 28-10 was which way?
The 28-10 was with Josh.
Okay.
If we don't have Josh, I think it's going to be like 17 10. I think it's be a close game.
So it'll be a much lower scoring game then. And who wins the 17-10?
Bills.
Still Bills. Okay. All right, look, I'll take the win any way we can get it at this point, especially if Josh doesn't play. I don't care if we win the game 2-0. I'm good. My score prediction would be
so 2-0 would be safety.
Yeah.
Unlikely.
It is unlikely, but with Josh playing, I think we win the game 30-20. I think that at some point here, this offense is going to come back alive. This offense is going to look like the elite offense that they are. I don't know for sure if it'll be this week. I think a lot of it depends on how Josh is feeling, even if he does play. How is that UCL ligament, which is the ligament he has the strain in his elbow? How is that feeling? But he's such a competitor. I think the competitive juices will take over, and he's going to want to make up for the 2 quarters against Packers and the game against the Jets. So I think 30-20 if Josh does play. If Josh does not play, I do have us winning the game. It is a much closer game. I have us winning 24-20. And I can't tell if that's just wishful thinking on my part, because I'm a Bills fan. I love the Bills and I want them to win. This is why I don't bet on the Bills one way or another, because I can't separate how much I want them to win from how much I think they'll win and realistically. So, all right. Do you have anything else to add here before we close this one out?
I do actually.
What do you want to add?
I think if Josh Allen does play, it's definitely going to be a high-scoring game. Because remember, in his first year, we were an underdog, and we absolutely dominated the Vikings.
We did.
And now, since Josh Allen's arm is hurt, I don't think we're an underdog, but I think people are going to think it's a close game, just because Josh Allen can't throw it as far.
Right.
But I think he's going to step up if he plays, just to prove them wrong, exactly like he did in his first year.
Okay. I'd love to see that, man. I just want to see this offense get back on track. That's what's important to me. And the defense just keep doing what they're doing, right? Yep. All right. Anything else you wanted to add?
No.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the Mafia Means Family podcast today. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mini Mafia, and I'm Mafia Mom.
And I am Mini Mafia.
Until next time, go Bills!